Hi guys, welcome to Details in Hindsight. I am your host, Maddy Brown, and today is going to be a fun episode for the newbies, and I'm really excited. But before we get into it, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like, that follow, or subscribe button, depending on where you're watching, it helps me build this community with more military spouses just like you. And if you have already done that, thank you. I really appreciate your support. The support I have received thus far has been phenomenal. I did not expect to do this well this early on in the game, and I don't know what it is, but y'all make me feel less alone, and I'm really grateful. So I'm gonna keep doing it, and hopefully, I don't know, I'm excited to see what's in the future. We got a lot coming up for this podcast, which I'm really excited about, and if you would love to stick along for the journey, I'd love to have you. Oh, as I have been saying, this has been a journey so far. We're on episode 13 today. I have noticed that the more I post, the more acronyms I have been using, and I have noticed a lot of newbie military spouses asking what those acronyms mean. So I thought I would use this episode to go over acronyms and what they mean and all that jazz. This is going to be the moving category, this episode. Basically, we're just going to cover all the moving acronyms that you will see throughout your moving journey. And we're going to start with the basic PCS. Permanent change of station is when you change from one base to the next base, and it's always called a PCS, which leads me into my next one, which is TMO. TMO stands for Traffic Management Office. Basically, that is the office that your service member will go to get all the information from like handling who's going to handle your move, what's the timeline, when, where, all that jazz happens through TMO. Your service member will walk you through that when you first PCS for the first time, but all that will be handled through TMO. BA, Basic Allowance for Housing. I don't know what it is with my dyslexic brain, but that's the one I get the most mixed up. And I'm usually over here being like BH, BHA, BHA, BHA. And Austin every time rips into me and is like BAH, BAH, BAH. For some reason, it just, out of all the acronyms, that one has not clicked. But that is going to be your rent allowance. If you're a spouse, either you can live on base or you can live off base. And if you live off base, you only get a set amount, and same with on base, but you only get a set amount. So if your, rent's over that set amount, you do have to make up the difference for that. Most of the time, if you're living on base, it's the exact amount. So usually BAH is taken out pretty quickly if you're living on base. I have not lived on base yet. However, from what my friends have said, it's pretty much the same as what y'all make per rank, if that makes sense. Next one, HHG, is going to be household goods. So a lot of the times when you move, you will use movers, and what they call your stuff is going to be household goods. So a lot of spouses will be like, come with me today to get my HHG. That means they're getting their stuff for the first time in like months. Or it's going to be like, oh, they're picking up my HHG today. They're talking about like all their couches, their chairs. They don't do plants. So all their furniture, all their stuff, that's called HHG. So, household goods. Yes. This one's a little tricky, but POV, that is actually going to be personally owned vehicles. That really is more on brand for overseas moves. A lot of times it's just one car. Pretty sure they just pay for one car, but that is called a POV. Not point of view, personal owned vehicle. Yeah. Moving into kind of some more difficult ones. This is going to be your DD Form 1299. That is going to be the application for shipping your household goods. That's basically the paperwork no one tells you about. It basically just tells TMO what you're shipping. 9 times out of 10, it is your service member that fills that out. So, but again, if you need to know, DD Form 1299. Next one, let's see here. We have NTS, which stands for non-temporary storage. When your stuff gets stored before your new home is ready. So there's a lot of times, this is usually more for overseas, or there's sometimes it happens in the state. But sometimes, if you're trying to live on base, there's not enough housing. So you have to stay temporarily in a hotel. And then that means they put your HHG into storage, which basically is NTS, which is non-temporary storage. Again, a lot of these terminologies that I'm going to be throwing at you is going to be very situational. Sometimes you may not hear about it, sometimes you will. Usually the NTS is with movers. So typically it's, oh, base housing isn't ready yet, or we didn't get to find an apartment yet, or a house yet, we need more time. They basically hold on to your stuff until you're ready. I don't know why it's called non-temporary storage, but PPM/DITY move, which is a Diddy move. personally procured move slash do-it-yourself move. A Diddy move is typically in states, so a lot of people will try to pocket cash by doing it do-it-yourself move instead of hiring movers. That would take up your whole budget for moving. A lot of people will move themselves, which I have done that already, and that was not the worst. I didn't hate it. I think the only rough part about it was just driving across the country, but you know, that's kind of part of the gig when you have cars and you don't want to ship it. So I think you could ship your cars if it's over a certain amount of miles. If, like, let's say you're going from South Carolina to California, I think they will allot for one personal car to be shipped 99% of the time. A lot of people will just drive and do a little road trip across the country, gives everybody money, and they can pocket the cash for that. It does add miles to your car, but a lot of people do pocket some cash doing a Diddy move. Yeah. All right. Going into some more interesting ones. Let's see. An ETA/ETD, which is estimated time of arrival or departure. It's basically when your stuff is going to arrive or when your stuff is going to be leaving your house. A lot of the times your ETA will be delayed. So keep that in mind. This sounds pretty straightforward, but typically everything's delayed. Expect the worst, appreciate the best, I guess. I don't know. A TDY is a temporary duty station. So basically, you're only there for, I think it's like max 9 months or very short time. Each branch is a little different on what they consider a TDY, but sometimes there are temporary duty stations. So keep that in mind. So a lot of service members will use an LOA, which is a leave of absence for PCS. Basically, it's more time off you get for moving. It's that allotted time. So everybody, when they have new orders, gets an LOA. When they're a service member, I think everybody's varies depending on certain factors. I don't think there's just like one straight, this is your LOA like every time. I know some people it's usually like 4 days, but it does vary, and a lot of people will add to their LOA, adding some leave days of their own on it so they get a little more time. There is house hunting days. There's a few other factors that play into LOA, so just kind of keep that in mind. CONUS versus OCONUS. This is kind of simple. It's like continental US versus outside continental US. CONUS is everything in the 48 states. That it does not include Hawaii or Alaska. Hawaii and Alaska would be at OCONUS. OCONUS is Germany, Italy, Japan, Guam, anything that you have to get on a plane and like over an ocean or a different country typically is considered OCONUS. So yeah, those are the differences between CONUS and OCONUS. Yeah, so there is this thing called TLE, which is temporary lodging expenses. That is going to be the budget basically for the hotel that you'll stay at if you need to move across the country for like that one night or two that you need to stay. So yeah, that is kind of it. So that was really fast. I did not think I would go through it that fast. So yeah, that is it. I also just kind of wanted to keep it simple this week. I know a lot of the times, like when I come on here, it's either like really heavy or like really light, and there's no in between. There's a lot going on in Maddy's world, and I'm really excited to share it, but everything has just been pure chaos over here. Anywho, so yeah, that is your basic acronyms for moving. If there are any acronyms that you need answers for, use this comment section now to ask your questions, and I'm sure there is another military spouse that is willing to answer that for you, or I will try my best as well. Yeah, I know it's hard when you just become a military spouse and people are throwing all these different acronyms at you and you're like, I don't, how am I supposed to know what this means? So don't be scared to Google, don't be scared to ask, because the more you know, the better, and the more questions you ask, the better. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment them down below as well. I always love seeing y'all ask questions and seeing either military spouses that do know the answers to it fill in the holes where I lack, or yeah, just be able to know you guys in general. Moving is super hard. I feel like when you're in that PCS brain, it is super complicated and there's a lot that comes with it. But if you're about to get orders, just know you are not alone. We got a big PCS wave coming. I can feel it in my bones. If you are seeing this episode, give it a thumbs up. All the stars, all the vibes. We need positive vibes. If you have a PCS that you would love to share, feel free to comment that down below or DM me and we can get you on the pod. We can talk about your crazy PCS story. I love to hear all of it. I really love to share your guys' stories, so please feel free. In my bio, I have an email address that you guys can DM, or you can DM me privately. I would love to get to know you guys and hopefully have you guys on the pod. That'd be great. Love all your stories, by the way. You guys have some crazy ones. My words of advice this week for the newbies, with moving being a topic, I've just been seeing it from my point of view as a podcast host and seeing all your guys' questions about moving, and a lot of you have reached out to me, which I'm really grateful for, that you guys feel safe to reach out. I do want to let you guys know, or kind of break a bubble here. I have been seeing a lot of girls on the internet being like, come with me to PCS to Hawaii, or come with me to PCS to Germany, or like their dream base. And I've had a lot of girls, and there's a lot of personal reasons to this as well, but I've seen a lot of people like DMing me devastated that they didn't get anything that they were even expecting or hoping for. Because, you know, obviously sometimes you can put in a list, but the military have their own demands and they're going to do what they're going to do anyways. So just know that, like, if you're going through this PCS season and you got a base that you are absolutely dreading, just know you are not the only one. There's a lot of things that are factors into it, and it's hard not to take that personally, but just know you are not alone and it will be okay. I think that's the hard part with military influencers, is that you get to see the positive ones. There's not a lot of ones that are stationed like in the middle of nowhere talking about their experiences, so it feels more isolating when you get assigned a duty station that is nowhere near civilization. So just know that you are not the only one and it will be okay. Just, you have to remind yourself, like, this is a very temporary situation. You will get out of that station. It is not forever. However, if you're just about to move to that station, just know that it'll be okay. And I highly encourage you just to keep an open mind and to remember, like, everything happens for a reason, and this is for either good reasons for your spouse's career, or there's something to it that we just don't know yet, and God has a better plan for you at that base. And either this is going to be a really humbling moment and you're really going to enjoy the next bases afterwards, or this is going to be a personal growth time where you just work on yourself and all these other seasons. But it's devastating to find out that news. It's heartbreaking sometimes. So you are not the only one. If you just got orders recently and you're going to the middle of nowhere and you're scared, it is scary. It is hard because it's not, like, you'll get orders to a town that you never knew even existed. Just know you're not the only one, and it will be okay in the end. I'm like all emotional, all emo over here. And I will have more to that later. But yeah, I love you guys. And I really just want you to keep an open mind moving forward. We got a big growth spurt coming for us as military spouses, and a lot of the newbies as well that have joined this awesome community. And some of y'all are experiencing your first PCS for the first time, and it's scary just in itself. And then to get stationed somewhere that you didn't even know existed is also terrifying. And you know, it takes a lot of just pausing, reflecting, feel the emotions, don't boil them up, because there will be a big explosion if you do not just let the emotions flow. The only way to get through it is through it. I highly encourage you to use this time to pray with God, lean on God. Your spouse is going to be a great partner in this. And when you're stationed in the middle of nowhere, that is a great time to work on communication and how you guys will function as a couple moving forward. So yeah, there's a lot going on, but that is something I've seen in my DMs recently, and just a lot of girls are sad and devastated that they are going to where they thought they were going to be going. You are not alone. And if you are moving and PCSing to a station that you didn't even know existed before, I'd love to play the emoji game with you guys in this comment section. But yeah, if you're going to a station that you didn't even know existed, or you weren't expecting, or you're moving and you're excited, feel free to use this comment section to use 5 emojis to comment where you're going, and hopefully I could try a guess, and then y'all can kind of hopefully meet some other spouses that are also moving there too. But yes, I think that is the hardest part with military influencers, is that they get the dream duty station, and a lot of them aren't showing the hard duty stations. So yeah, I'm sorry for that. I'm not in the worst spot right now, but I know it could be better. So I'm in Georgia, so it's not too bad. It could be worse. Just grateful for the now. And that is the goal, is to stay humble and to stay grateful. That's my number one goal for this year, is just to stay humble and grateful and to keep moving forward. So yes, you are not alone, and you are stronger than you think, and it's going to be okay. So All right, you guys, I love you, and I will see you guys next week. But before I do, I'm going to pray us out. All right, dear Lord, thank you for this day. I hope this acronym alphabet helps out and gives another military spouse a little breathing room to learn and grow and understand this a little bit better, even if it's just a small thing. Lord, I just pray for all the spouses that are getting new orders randomly or have seen it coming for a bit. Lord, I just ask that you give them a level of peace as we are about to embark on a PCS season that we have never seen before. There's a lot of change coming up for this community again, as we are known for. But Lord, I encourage all the spouses to continue to feel and pray and lean on you, Lord. I want them to know that everything has a reason, and we may not know it until the hindsight, and it sucks. And I wish we could have a detailed itinerary of how this is going to go, but that's just not how life works, Lord. And you designed it that way for a reason, and we are all about to grow and learn and become more ourselves as we transition to this next phase. Lord, I just ask that we don't grow resentful of our spouses that assigned us to these stations that we may have never even heard of. So Lord, just please, I pray for the spouses as they probably aren't feeling the best either. And the sponsors that, take us to these bases, Lord, I'm sure the guilt is a little high for them as well. So Lord, I just pray as these spouses are moving, keep them united, keep them safe, and keep them rooted in you, Lord, in your name. Amen. All right, guys, I will see you next week. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, do all the things, and I am so excited for what's coming. So I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.